the actual paper that comes out in the prelims examination.
Get the Byju's Edge with our comprehensive preparation program for UPSC CSE. Download the app.
Hi everyone. So next is the coral reef. Coral reef, what we understand. Coral reef are diverse underwater ecosystem. It is underwater ecosystem together by calcium carbonate and corals. So they are characterized by high biomass production and rich faunal and flora diversity. There is the floral and faunal diversity is the high. Okay, so this is known as the coral reefs. So they are characterized by high biomass. Coral reefs are fragile ecosystem. So they are fragile ecosystem and they are very sensitive even to temperature. Sensitive to temperature. So fragile and sensitive to temperature. These keywords are there. Okay. So habitat is what? They are most commonly found in shallow and depth. Shallow depth in the tropical water, that is in the shallow depth. Okay, and but deep water, cold water coral also exist in smaller scale. So the vast majority of these islands are volcanic in nature. This is volcanic in nature. And shallow water reef form only in the zone extension from 13 north to 13 south. They grow only at depth shallower than 150 meter because of their need for sunlight cannot grow above sea level. The optimum temperature is 26 to 27 degree and few reefs exist in water below 18 degrees Celsius also. So these are the coral reefs. Now formation, the bulk of coral reefs are made of the formation. The bulk of coral reefs are made up of coral skeleton, mostly intact coral colonies. Coral secretes hard carbonites and exoskeleton which support and protect the coral polyps. The polyp belong to the group of animal known Cnidaria. Reef building coral are a symbiotic association of polyp and zooxanthella. This is the polyp and zooxanthella. Zooxanthellae is the microscopic algae, and reef building coral are a symbiotic association of polyp. So fringip reef. Now there is some example of reefs. That one is the fringing reef. Fringing reef is the directly attached to the shore and it with the interacting shallow channel or lagoon. Barrier reef. Next is the barrier reef. Barrier reef is the separated form of a mainland or island shore by the deep channel lagoon. And last is the atoll reef. Atoll reef is more circular. It is circular. Barrier reef is the attached to the mainland, island shore, deep channel and lagoon. So if attached to the lagoon, that is known barrier reef. And atoll is the reef separate, more or less circular continuous barrier reef extend all the way surround the lagoon. It is also surround the lagoon, but it is in atoll. That's why it's a circular in shape. So ecosystem, there is habitat and tourism and fishery and shoreline protection. So threat, what are the threat to the coral reefs? If we are talking about threat, there is the climate change, oceanic acidification, bleaching, overuse of reef, sun screen, harmful land use particle and agricultural runoff, violent storm, flood, low temperature and El Nino. So flood and El Nino, these are the reason. Now the coral reef in India. First of all, coastal area. Coastal area are Gulf of Kutch in the northwest world, Pak Bay and Gulf of Mannar. So one is the Gulf of Kutch. Okay, Gulf of Kutch, Palk Bay and Gulf of Mannar. Gulf of Mannar are three type of areas where they live. Iceland, Andaman Nicobar Island, fringing reef and the barrier reef you will found there. Lakshadweep Island, we can found atoll there. Largest area Andaman Nicobar. First of all Andaman Nicobar, second Lakshadweep, third is Gujarat and fourth is Tamil Nadu. Okay, and coral reefs are called rainforest of the sea. They are known as the rainforest of the sea. And shallow coral reefs, they are in the shallow waters. That's why shallow coral reef form most diverse ecosystem. They occupy less than 0.1% world ocean surface, provide 25% all marine species. The Greater Barrier Reef. The Greater Barrier Reefs are Australia and Mesomerium Barrier Reef system, Andorra, Bahamas Barrier Reef, Indo-Pacific region like including Red Sea, Indian Ocean, Southeast Asia and Pacific Ocean 91%, and hermatypic coral along with the shore and reported from Kerala coast, and the coral reef of India under jurisdiction of Department of Forest and Wildlife, Department and Forest of and Wildlife. Okay, now next one is protected area. Next one is protected area. Protected area. What are the protected area? Are those in which human occupation or at least exploitation resources limited. If there is less exploitation, that is known as protected area. Okay, so protected area are designed with the objective conservation. It is conservation of biodiversity. Protected area are essential for biodiversity conservation, often providing habitat and protection of hunting and threatened endangered species. So several kind of protected area are there. Term protected area, marine protected area, transbounded protected area, and IUCN, International Convention for the Conservation of Nature, is the category classified the protected area, and UNCBD, Convention for Biodiversity, is also declared this. Okay, so these are the protected area. Category 1. Category 1 is known as the strict nature reserve. Category 2 is known as the widespread area. Category 2 also known as the national park. Category 4 is known as the habitat, and category 5 is known as the landscape, and category 6 is known as the sustainable use of natural resources. Okay, what are that category? Category 1 is known as strict nature reserve. So nature reserves are in this category 1. Category 2 is the wilderness area. So wild natural area are 2. Category 2 is the national park. National parks are there. Category 3 is the natural monument. Natural monuments are there. Category 4 are habitat. Okay, category 4 are habitat. 5 is landscape, and category 6 is protected area. Protected area and sustainable use. So what we are discussing about protected area is the national park, then wildlife sanctuary, then biosphere reserve, then conservation reserve, and then community reserves. So these are the protected areas. So first of all, Wildlife Protection Act is 1972. It's enacted 9 September 1972. Objective wildlife protection was enacted with the objective effective controlling poaching, illegal trade and wildlife and its derivative. It is whole of India extend is Jammu and Kashmir. This is not in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, amended 2006 in the Project Tiger. So Project Tiger was amended in 2006. Schedule 1, 2, 3 is include species which required absolute protection. Offence under there are prescribed the highest penalty. Species listed in Schedule 3, Schedule 4 are protected but the penalties are much lower. Schedule 5 include animal which are hunted, and Schedule 6 are prohibited from cultivation and planting. Okay, so these are the protected areas. Now next one is what? Next one is protected area in India. Protected area in India. Protected area in India is the IUCN. IUCN fourth protected area sanctuary in an area set aside for conservation, protection and management of wildlife and its habitat. India has 515 animal sanctuaries. So many national park, initially wildlife sanctuary. So division is wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve and bird sanctuary, and Project Tiger. And Project Tiger is also there. Okay, so this is like prohibition, destruction or damage, exploitation of weapons, hunting, grazing, all are prohibited except by under the direction control of reserve authority. Human settlement and other human activities are restricted and prohibited. The state government may by notification constitute any area that are area comprised within the reserve forest terrestrial water. No alteration of the boundary of sanctuary shall be made except on the resolution passed by legislature or state. So resolution must be passed by legislature and the state. Okay, so IUCN second is protected area. A national park is the park in use for the conservation purpose. So India first national park was Henley National Park, Jim Corbett in the 1935. So prohibition is what? Hunting, killing, deprivation of any wild animal from habitat, destruction and collection of flora, weapons and grazing. Declaration of national park is whenever it appear to state government that an area, whether within a sanctuary or not, it by reason of its ecological, floral, geomorphological, zoological association important needed conservation national park for the purpose of protecting, propagating, development of wildlife. So biosphere reserve is what? IUCN is depending on protection. So reserved forest and protected forest are declared by the respective state. They are forest land, logging, hunting, grazing activities may be permitted. And reserve forests are often upgraded to the state of wildlife sanctuary, which town may be upgraded to the status of national park. IUCN category of 5. IUCN category of 5 protected area which act as a buffer zone or migration corridor between national park, wildlife and reserve and protected area. Such area are designed as conservation area if they are uninhabited. Okay, so Tiruvananthapuram Conservation Reserve, first conservation reserve to establish in country by village community, protect under bird nesting. Rajasthan government Jawai Bandh forest as a conservation. And IUCN list 6 protected area which act as a buffer zone or migration corridor between national park, wildlife sanctuary and protected reserves. So such area are designed as community area or part of land are privately owned. Administration of such reserve would be through local people, land, local agency like Gram Panchayat. So Gram Panchayat is there which is doing that, and community reserves are instant for private and land being accorded protection under Indian legislature. Tirupaddami Athur Conservation Reserve near Chennai declared is first community reserve of country. Tirupaddai Mathur is conservation reserve in Chennai. Okay. Now National Green Tribunal. What is the National Green Tribunal? National Green Tribunal 2010. So this is the National Green Tribunal established by the government notification wide power section 3 of NGT Act 2010. So to provide effective expedition disposal of cases. So disposal of cases, environment protection, conservation of forest and other natural resources, including enforcement of any legal right relating to the environment. Circuit bench is green bench are established across country to try all matters related to the arising out environment issue. A full-time chairperson is qualification of judge of Supreme Court and Chief Justice of High Court is there. So who are there? One is Judge of Supreme Court and Chief Justice of High Court is there. Appointment of the central government in consultation with the Chief Justice of India. So qualification Judge of Supreme Court, Chief Justice of High Court, Judge of High Court and appointment on the recommendation of selection committee. So 10 to 20 members will be there in NGT. Qualification either a degree of Masters in Science, doctoral degree or environmental degree and appointed by recommendation of the select committee. Select committee will recommend that. Okay. Terms are chairperson. There will be a chairperson, there will be a judicial member, there will be an expert member and 5 year will be the term of that. So maximum age of chairperson is 70 year and for High Court it is 67 year. Okay. So jurisdiction of NGT, National Green Tribunal has jurisdiction over all civil cases where a substantial question relating to environment is involved. So this is about National Green Tribunal. Now next question is National Wildlife Action Plan. Next question is what about National Wildlife Action Plan? National Wildlife Action Plan's first National Wildlife Action Plan was adopted 1983, and the decision was taken by 15 meeting of Indian Board for Wildlife 1982. Indian Board for Wildlife, the plan had outlined the strategy action points of wildlife conservation. The first National Wildlife Action Plan was 1983. Revised new Wildlife Action Plan was 2002 to 16. And the term wildlife encompasses of uncultivated flora and undomesticated fauna. Effective ecosystem conservation is the foundation of long-term ecological economic stability. Wildness and wildlife are irrevocably interlinked, and their continued existence is crucial for the long-term survival. So India ranks 6th among the 12 mega biodiversity country. In India among the 6th among the 12 mega biodiversity countries, strengthening, enhancing the protected area, effective management of the protected area, conservation of wild endangered species habitat, restoration of degraded habitat, control of poaching and illegal trade, monitoring research, human resource development, personal planning, ensuring pupil participation, conservation, awareness, education, wildlife tourism, domestic legislation, international convention, enhancing financial allocation for fund flowing, and integration of National Wildlife Action Plan of sectoral program. Okay, next one is marine protected area. Next one is the marine protected area. Okay, so that is marine protected area. Marine protected area is the umbrella term for protected area that includes some area of marine landscape and biodiversity. So marine and biodiversity is included the marine protected area. It aims to protect and conserve the natural marine ecosystem and pristine condition. So traditionally the marine protected area established individual nation. World Summit on Sustainable Development was in 2002 called Establishment of Marine Protected Area. So 8,000 kilometer coastline. India has 8,000 kilometer coastline. Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep. Okay, this is included. And exclusive economic zone is what? 2305 kilometer of exclusive economic zone we have. There are total 31 marine protected area. 31 marine protected area cover 4% of all India. 4% of all India. Okay, so now taking the name of that is Gulf of Mannar. That is Gulf of Mannar, Gulf of Kutch, Gulf of Kutch Marine National Park, Mahatma Gandhi National Marine Park, Andaman and Nicobar, Gahir Matha in Odisha. So these are some marine protected area. The marine and coastal environment of India harbor host resident migratory wildlife. Important species found include dugong, whale, dolphin, olive ridley, turtle and variety of fishes.